Have you ever wondered how two people can view the same concept, like freedom, so differently? Well, that's the beauty of human perception, isn't it? Freedom, a seemingly straightforward idea, can be interpreted in an array of contrasting ways, depending on our unique perspectives and experiences. It's like a prism, bending the light of thought into different colors of understanding. Today, we're going to delve into the world of such differing perspectives, specifically the viewpoints of moderates and extremists. Now, before we venture further, it's important to clarify that our exploration isn't about endorsing or condemning any viewpoint. Instead, it's about broadening our understanding, about painting a holistic picture of how the same concept of freedom can be seen in such divergent ways. In one corner, we have the moderates. Their perspective of freedom is often balanced, taking into account the welfare of the individual as well as the community. They advocate for rights and liberties, but within the confines of law and order. On the other side, we have the extremists. Their vision of freedom is usually absolute, unyielding. They often argue for liberties without restrictions, brushing aside any societal norms or laws that they believe infringe on their freedom. Two perspectives, both viewing the same concept through very different lenses. And as we delve deeper into these perspectives, we'll also consider the implications of these views. How does a moderate's balanced approach to freedom impact society? And what are the ramifications of an extremist's absolute stance on freedom? Our journey through these contrasting viewpoints will undoubtedly challenge our own perceptions of freedom. You might find yourself questioning, re-evaluating, perhaps even reshaping your own understanding of what freedom means to you. So as we embark on this exploration, let's keep an open mind. Let's allow these differing perspectives to inform and enrich our understanding, rather than divide or polarize us. As we navigate through these contrasting viewpoints, remember the objective is to understand, not to judge. Moderates often see freedom as a balance, a midpoint between anarchy and oppression. They believe that freedom should be a harmonious blend of individual liberties and societal order. It's not about having the absolute right to do anything and everything, but rather about having the liberty to do what is right without infringing upon the rights of others. Take, for instance, the concept of peaceful protests. These are a hallmark of a moderate's perspective on freedom. In a society that values moderation, individuals have the right to voice their opinions, to assemble and to protest peacefully. They can express their disagreement with a policy or a course of action, but they do so without resorting to violence or disruption. Their freedom of speech is respected, but equally, so is the right of others to safety and peace. Similarly, consider democratic societies that value individual freedoms but also maintain order. In these societies, individuals are free to vote, to express their views, to practice their religion, and to pursue their dreams. But this freedom is not absolute. There are laws and regulations in place that protect the rights of others and maintain societal order. For example, one's freedom of speech does not include the right to spread hate speech or to incite violence. The freedom to practice one's religion does not allow for the persecution of those who follow different faiths. In essence, moderates see freedom as a delicate equilibrium, a careful dance between the rights of the individual and the needs of the community. They understand that complete, unbridled freedom can lead to anarchy, just as too much control can lead to oppression. They strive for a middle ground, a place where every individual has the liberty to be themselves, to express their views, and to pursue their dreams, but not at the expense of others. For moderates, freedom is about balance, about being able to express oneself without infringing on the rights of others. They understand that true freedom is not about having no restrictions, but rather about having the right restrictions that foster a conducive environment for everyone to thrive. Contrastingly, extremists may view freedom quite differently, often as an absolute, non-negotiable right. To understand these perspectives, it's essential to delve into the mindset of those who hold them. Let's take a moment to explore the viewpoint of the extremist. those who take a more radical approach to securing their freedoms. Remember, this is not about passing judgment, but rather an attempt to understand their perspective. For extremists, freedom is often seen as a black and white issue. It's either you have it or you don't. There's no room for compromise or negotiation in their world. They believe that they have an inherent right to their freedoms and that any attempt to curtail or limit those freedoms is an attack on their fundamental human rights. Consider the examples of radical groups or individuals who have resorted to violence in the name of freedom. They often perceive themselves as freedom fighters, battling against oppressive forces that seek to deny them their basic rights. From their viewpoint, their actions, however radical or violent they may seem to others, are justified as a necessary response to an unjust system. This perspective is fueled by a strong sense of injustice and a belief that they have been wronged. They see their actions not as acts of aggression, but as a defense of their freedoms. The belief that their freedom is under threat can lead to a sense of urgency and desperation, driving them to take drastic measures to protect what they believe is rightfully theirs. However, it's important to underline that this perspective on freedom is not universally accepted. Many see these actions as a distortion of the concept of freedom, using it as a cover to justify acts of violence and aggression. Still, understanding this perspective is key to grasping the complexities of the freedom debate. It highlights the stark contrast between moderate and extremist views and underscores the need for ongoing dialogue and understanding. For extremists, freedom often justifies the means, even if those means are considered radical or violent by others. So how do these contrasting views affect us and the society we live in? The answer to this question is as complex as the tapestry of human existence. The impact of these opposing views on freedom, moderate and extreme, is profound and far-reaching. On one hand, the moderate view fosters stability and peace. It paves the way for a society where differences are embraced, where diverse ideas coexist, and where the freedom of one individual doesn't impede the freedom of another. This approach promotes dialogue, understanding, and compromise, elements that are crucial in a civil society. It encourages us to respect the boundaries of others while enjoying our own freedom, creating an environment that is conducive to mutual growth and respect. Contrarily, the extremist perspective, with its absolute and uncompromising nature, can lead to conflict. It can fuel division and hostility, as the quest for absolute freedom can sometimes encroach on the liberties and rights of others. Yet, it's essential to acknowledge that even this perspective has its merits. It triggers important conversations, challenging the status quo and pushing society to reflect, evaluate, and sometimes evolve. These contrasting views on freedom are like two sides of the same coin. They may seem at odds with each other, but in reality, they are intertwined, each influencing and shaping the other. The moderate's perspective keeps the extremists in check, preventing the tip into anarchy. Simultaneously, the extremists' view challenges the moderates, preventing complacency and fostering societal growth. The impact of these perspectives extends to our personal lives as well. They shape our understanding of freedom, our interactions with others, and our reactions to situations. They influence our choices, our beliefs, and our actions. They teach us about the delicate balance between individual liberty and societal harmony and the importance of maintaining it. Whether we align with the moderates or the extremists, these views shape our society and our understanding of freedom. They remind us that freedom is not just about the ability to do what we want, but also about understanding and respecting the rights and freedoms of others. In the end, how we perceive freedom is a matter of perspective, influenced by our personal beliefs and experiences. Now, let's pull together the threads of our discussion. We've delved into the moderate's perspective, where freedom is seen as a balanced dance between rights and responsibilities. It's a view that seeks harmony, not just for oneself, but for society at large. It's about respecting boundaries and understanding that freedom does not exist in a vacuum. It's intertwined with the freedoms of others and the collective well-being. Then we navigated the extremist's perspective. Here, freedom is absolute, unyielding, and uncompromising. It's a fierce assertion of one's rights, often without regard for the potential impact on others. To the extremist, freedom is a fundamental right, and any perceived encroachment is a threat that must be vehemently opposed. These contrasting views are not just theories in a textbook, they are lived realities, shaping our world in profound ways. They're part of the complex tapestry of human perspectives, and understanding them is key to having more productive conversations about freedom. Remember, the essence of freedom is not one-dimensional. It has as many shades as there are people in the world. It's a vast spectrum, ranging from the calm blues of moderation to the fiery reds of extremism. Each shade adds depth and complexity to our collective understanding of what it means to be free. So when we talk about freedom, we're not just discussing an abstract concept, we're exploring the very core of human existence. Our views on freedom reflect our values, our fears, our hopes, and our dreams. They shape our actions, our relationships, and ultimately, our societies. Remember, understanding different perspectives is the first step to finding common ground. So the next time you think about freedom, consider the spectrum of viewpoints that exist. Let's use these insights as a lens to better understand one another and to work towards a world where everyone can experience the joy of being free in their own unique way.